Okay, COMM 162. This is part two of your demonstration of a preliminary essay built from scratch on the specific topic of writing portfolio assignment, part B, which draws from our three guest speaker sessions, courtesy of Career Services and Cooperative Education. That department has you in their best interests to succeed at not just Centennial College, but beyond. They are future oriented. These are the people that will give you really good advice in terms of job readiness and to go out and connect with an organization that represents good value for you. That company needs to know in return, they are also getting good value for their investment. They are, after all, going to pay you. And so you have the obligation of letting them know why you are a good fit, but also like a long-term prospect. They're not interested in having people on a short-term basis unless it's gig work. There is a gig economy, and it's a separate focus, let's say, from what the college is promoting. We are trying to nurture your talents and have them positioned so that Canadian companies understand and appreciate and want to connect and have you represent their brand. It's really important that you have a positive and optimistic, but also demonstrate not just a willingness, but a kind of readiness and reliability that they will feel comfortable in inviting you to interview and then inviting you to come back and work, right, with them so that everybody wins. This is a special Zoom in that I am likely to have to leave early in our reading and writing class in person, but my medical issues should not hold you back from possibly completing this preliminary essay that has yet to be finished. This video will, I hope, benefit those people who have yet to complete it. It is due tonight. I am setting this video loose the day in which we have a reading and writing class in week 9. And it happens to also be the day of the deadline for this part B writing portfolio assignment, a preliminary essay written by you about you. It should be you and not the chatbot. That was a previous assignment. It was a one-off. And now we just want you to give your best attempt at what you've learned from those sessions on job research, resume and cover letter, interview skills, and how those combine to make you more aware, more ready to eventually apply for positions that are advertised by these great companies and organizations, right? That are going to make, you know, this whole big plan of yours to succeed in the Canadian marketplace. We want to be right there with you, frankly. The college loves success stories. And when you win, the college wins. So here we go. And I'm going to start sharing my screen as promised, because I couldn't get it to work in the media site. It's a new technology for me. It's been around for a while, but oh, there it is. We haven't yet had a good chance to really work with it because Zoom has been our default. But in case you hadn't heard, the college is looking at another online platform for doing these classes remotely. It's called Class. I think it comes from Microsoft, might be under MS Teams. More about that later. Right now, I'm using what's tried, tested, and true. And so I've stumbled upon your very first set of slides that we said, take advantage of them. If you weren't in class, I was off. It was my first week after surgery. Tamara was really, really nice about it. She forwarded slides. I posted them. They're in your content module week 4. And she did it again in week 6, where she posted the slides about the resume cover letter specifically. And Ragavi, our other guest speaker from CSCE, she posted her slides from the week 8 class in which she spoke to us in person. Now, all of you knew that we were supposed to be in class taking notes because it would directly support this preliminary essay that was from our, assessment module. So apologize for the grade view there. There's a lot going on in my computer. I hope I can get this done before it crashes because I've got so many tabs running. You can see it there, I think, in my shared screen. But the assessment module in week 8, when this writing portfolio assignment part B was released, it's here. And everybody's had access to this, and you can see the instructions have been laid out. It is a writing exercise done au naturel. So you should not be using the AI to generate an answer. This is something that represents your culmination, your collection of notes that you took or notes that you're making from the slides that help you focus on getting yourself ready for that eventual job interview, post-centennial. It's like we're planning for the future. This is after you graduate, most likely. Although sometimes opportunities come up close to graduation. So some people should be, preparing right now. It doesn't hurt, right? And so it's a fair, I think, ask to say, what do you understand from these materials that our separate department, because they're not working through the English department. I invited them to collaborate with us on this part of the semester. And I needed them to really reinforce some of these fundamentals that should help you, get yourself ready and look good, look pretty, look amazing, like, and attractive and sparkly, because this is what it's all about. Now, we're not doing the video yet. That's for the speaking presentation. This is a writing assignment. And because it is 3 paragraphs, remember that in the actual assignment attachment, right? That's the one you're supposed to download. This is the one where you could start writing your answers on. You've got so many great readers. This is something like the PWS that you have a hard copy of. And there were lots of instructions, yeah, but I told you that those instructions are actually a checklist. They can teach you and remind you of what goes into a preliminary essay. And that is our test in week 11 and again in week 13. These next reading and writing tests done against the clock involve the very same things that are in this writing assignment that you have time still to fix and work at your own pace. It's a great way to teach yourselves how to build a preliminary essay that has lots of parts. Major parts and minor parts, major parts and minor parts, major parts and minor parts. The outline is critical to your success. It helps you organize. And that's what I'm going to show you as I go through a mock preliminary essay on this topic of job readiness. I will go through thesis statement. I will make 3 topic sentences to go with 3 body paragraphs. I will have a concluding statement shared here on the screen with you. And then look at building out those 3 body paragraphs in detail. And I won't give you a final finished product that you can then take and put in your assignment folder. No, that's not the point. The point is I want to allow you to see what it takes, what goes into building a good and successful preliminary essay, keeping in mind always the main or central topic. In this case, it's job readiness for you in particular, right? And so as you go through here, you'll see there's a rubric, and that shouldn't surprise you because that's modeled after the extended paragraph rubric. So there's some similarities there. But again, don't obsess about this right now. This is something you can review before that reading and writing test 3 that's coming up. But my mission is to stop my share and flip to a blank page in which I can start basically charting out our path, right? So we said the topic is job readiness for Marc Yamaguchi. There is no need for a title in a preliminary essay, but I probably want to have my 3 topics generally laid out so I know what I'm shooting for, right? And so remember, these are specific to the information sessions that we had with Tamara first, and then it was Tamara again, and it was Ragavi at the end, right? And so I hope you could see me here. You can see me laying out the basic formula, right? For the detailed plan of success. Marc wants to be job ready, and he's going to do it in 3 areas, right? So if I'm now going to work on a thesis, I want to pull together those 3 central areas. And whenever we're challenged with a preliminary essay task, you should know that the question has to be answered in 3 ways. Those 3 ways should not be unrelated. The art, the skill involved is avoiding repetition and making the same point again and again. But you can see from the 3 ideas I've got here, not much thinking went into it. I kind of just yeah, we know those were the slide decks. That was the topic of each one. And so I left it very general. It provides enough, though, for me to focus now on my thesis statement, in which I have to say something about them. I have to tie them together. So my, let's see, my outcome, or let's say my success in winning a job of my liking will depend on a meaningful job search, comma, a polished resume and cover letter, comma, and well practiced interview skills. You know what? I think I had better make this font bigger. I'm thinking I'm straining, right, to see what I'm writing. You must be squinting because this is a shared screen. My apologies. Now, you can see that Marc has a thesis. And note, I didn't put any of the headings in. I will remove those numbers in a minute, but this is exactly how an outline would get filled out. And then you would take the information, just cutting and pasting from the outline with headings, just take the information under each heading and put it onto a blank page so that you have a clean, polished preliminary essay. You know what I'm saying? Right? So I left them out deliberately, but this first section is the thesis. That is the beginning of my essay. Now, with the first task, I have to go back probably to my slides, right? I may not have been there, and I have to pick out a few things, 3 things that would represent good value and things that I believe will be helpful in getting myself ready for the job. Now, the title here is very optional. Please don't think you need one, but if it helps you focus, keep it there for now. It's not required because it's not in the instructions. But for job search, in my topic sentence, I might want to say, remove the one, in my job search while I'm a student at Centennial College, I intend to register and learn as much as I can from the service experience Centennial. Now, again, I wasn't in class for week 4. I was also absent. But if I understand correctly, Tamara had mentioned everybody at Centennial should register for Experience Centennial. That is where they can take a look at your resume and cover letter. It's where they can receive your request for a one-on-one appointment. It's where they know you have access to their tools for helping you do the job search and how you should spend your time doing the job search. One of the tips, I'm going to put it in here, and I can't complete all of this essay for you. I'm going to do a little bit for each paragraph with the understanding that you have to do a lot more because the Zoom video will be ridiculously long and nobody's going to keep watching. But for paragraph 1, body paragraph 1, I do want to pull out an example from Experience Centennial. Like, what do they mention? Well, one of them is when I log in to this portal, it is recommended that I immediately update or create, because you might not have this yet, a LinkedIn account. Tamara probably promoted this third-party website. It's actually a social network for professionals, right? The most well-known. And there's a lot of job postings through LinkedIn and people in the industry who share lots of tips about the job that you want to get. And it's a resource. I have to follow up with a minor detail because by using LinkedIn this way, this is my major detail. So we want to say by using LinkedIn, I have learned about other professors in, let's say, the UK. And they have shared their understanding for getting one's credentials to teach in England. Now, I know this is like really detailed and doesn't apply to you because as far as I know, nobody is in a TESOL program in our class. You might be, you might consider it given if you are ECE students, you are basically educators, right? Like me. And so it's quite possible by taking what you learn here in the COMM course and while you continue your English studies, you might be inspired to change your mind. You might want to do TESOL training and then maybe even go back home to teach English as a foreign language. That would be TEFL, not TESOL. But you might do it here. And you might join the industry in which other international students come to you for advice about improving their English. Yeah. What I've done here in the beginning of this body paragraph 1 is state the topic, which is job search. I built and expanded on it. And then I went into major point 1, which was, it's experience centennial. And then I get into further detail by saying, let me give you an example. LinkedIn. That's a minor detail. Specific and on topic, relevant to me, right? And to prove it, to finish that idea, I've said how I want to use LinkedIn. And it's specific to Marc, right? Because I'm in the education industry. I'm a teacher. Maybe I don't want to keep teaching in Canada and I'm looking to move back to where my father's from. And I know you'd say, wouldn't your father be able to tell you these things? We're just doing an imaginary activity here, people. Please give me a break. I am trying to give you, though, a sense of how ideas in writing evolve and how the process must be such that we go from general to specific, from major to minors. This is Western conventional writing, and it's a very strong method in persuasive or what we call argumentative writing in academic English. So I want to move on to the second point, because enough of theory, it's way more valuable if we do the practical stuff. The resume and cover letter, going to remove that number 2. Don't need it anymore. It's a placeholder, right? While I was attending Tamara Puhalo's second session. Now, there is there is a APA method of citing the facilitator's speech. That means it's not written down anywhere, but we have to be careful we don't plagiarize tomorrow. And I would be okay with you using this in parentheses, Puhalo 2025. But I think tagged on to that is supposed to be this line. Don't quote me on it, though, because it's been a while since I've been in that position of writing an academic paper in which I was attending a lecture and I wanted to quote or paraphrase what I heard that master professor person say that was valuable to me, that I was generally impressed and I needed to internalize it. And when you do that, then you have to be upfront. Remember, if you're not, and you're just taking someone else's idea and making it seem like it's your own, that's plagiarism. You have to be careful. So the easy way around it is just to say who said it. And even if your ideas are loosely the same, err on the side of caution. When in doubt, cite anyway. So if your idea is similar to the facilitators, give the facilitator the credit. You'll look smart anyway, because now you're showing you have agreement with a professional. You see what I'm saying? Puhalo, her information that may be the same as yours, or your outlooks might be the same, right? Your thinking might be the same. It makes you look smarter because you found someone who is a professional and she's recognized at the college. So of course what she says is true. Versus you putting it out there and saying, well, this is what I think. It looks better if you got someone else who also thinks the same thing. It's more powerful. Now, let's get back to this second paragraph. And oops, I just forgot something. I'm supposed to tab the beginning of every paragraph, not the thesis statement. Nope, I'm leaving it, my success and winning job, just as it is. But the indentation of 5 spaces, automatic when you hit tab, T-A-B, on your keyboard, that's important. That makes and indicates very clearly, signals very clearly that you are beginning a new thought, a new body paragraph, right? And while I was attending Tamara Pahala's second session on writing the cover letter, the resume, a cover letter, I realized that I needed to have a job coach proof read my current resume. Great point. Now, this is a lead-in to the paragraph that is going to talk about those things in the week 6 folder, right? You have a slide deck that you can refer to. And this is what I mean by, although not everyone can get full marks on this assignment because not everyone was attending regularly like they should have, that's fine. It's like a small deduction. It's gonna be like a 10%. I mean it. Like it's like if it's out of 15, then it's minus 1.5. So it's just a small little deduction for not being present and doing this assignment as assigned. But you have a slide deck you can go back to in week 6 about resume and cover letter, and you can find stuff there that resonates with you, that has to make sense to you and not what someone else told you should pay attention to. You got to go find something that you can justify through your major and minor idea process, right? So, with the slide deck shared with my class, we could see the value in creating a, what did you call it? Like a special skills statement, a values statement at the top. A values statement in point form at the top of our resumes. Now, some of you may think, that we frown upon personal pronouns. I, me, we, our. Not the case. If we use them strategically, it still can be academic English. In other words, we're talking about tone, and you'll have various professors tell you refrain from using your first person narration. Definitely don't do second person. You do this, you can do that, you can benefit from this, don't do second person. That's really not good. That is something that's used for blogs. It's internet information. It's largely stuff that's plagiarized. We look upon that as insincere because when you write, you are writing for yourselves, first person. So it should be me and I some of the time, and third person for that analysis where you think about how the things you are writing about actually benefit many people, not just yourself. But in this assignment, we've given you full reign. We've said, this is important. You should be mentioning yourself. We want you to clarify how I benefit directly from that value statement. I'm going to follow this up with another minor detail. Okay. Notice how it's becoming more explicit what I'm saying. With the slide deck shared with my class, we could see the value in creating a value statement. Sounds a little redundant, the value in creating a value statement. Maybe I'll go back and change that later. We could see the benefit, right? Now, this is something that I don't do on the fly normally. I want to write things out first fully and then go back and find those things that sound a little repetitive. And could I change the word? Yeah, I could to make it a little more interesting. That's normally what I do. But here we go. And in the second paragraph, remember that the first paragraph's not complete. It may look like it because it's 5, 6, 7 lines, right? But it's only a couple sentences. And the same thing goes with the second paragraph that I'm doing with you. I am merely starting it and merely doing the first of 3 major points. Every paragraph that you make in a preliminary essay should have 3 major supporting points with minor detail explaining them. So it's longer. These paragraphs can be 7, 8, 9, 10 sentences long inside a preliminary essay. Each paragraph 7 to 10 sentences long. So with this one, with the slide deck shared at my class, we could see the benefit of creating a value statement in point form at the top of our resumes. This, strikes me as really helpful for my future employer to quickly understand my best features, or maybe I should say skills, and skills as an educator rather than having to read the entire 2 pages. I sent along. So what I did with that third sentence, right, is provide that really important, meaningful, relevant detail. Marc's view. It's what I learned from Tamara, actually, and I credited her. Remember at the very beginning, I cited her advice, which was I should redo my resume and I should put in a value statement at the very top, before the headings, education, before experience, before certifications, those categories and groups of information on the page to 2-page resume. Right at the very top are bullet points that highlight Marc's best features, Marc's best skills, Marc's most successful accomplishments, without like a great deal of detail. Just, it's what they call an executive summary. It's where they want to get a sense of me without having to spend more than 30 seconds, if that. The reality is so many people want to move to the UK and teach there. It's so prestigious, after all. Can you imagine? I have such bragging rights to be able to say, I'm an English professor in England. So how am I going to stand out? How am I going to get their attention? Yo, over here, over here. I got to do something with my resume that jumps out at them. And so Tamara is saying, Mark, I think you got to make this a little fancier, not with the words, but with the layout. She's saying with the presentation of the details. It's important to put it right up front so they can smell it right under their nose. Yeah. Okay. So, well on our way for part or body paragraph 2, right? We got one more body paragraph to go, though. It's about the interview skills. Arguably the hardest one. People are always the most nervous during interview. Maybe I want to say that in the beginning. My fear of doing interviews was somewhat lessened after hearing our second facilitator from CSCE, Career Services Cooperative Education. I'm a bit lazy. That's abbreviation. Ragavi, right? After hearing our second facilitator, Ragavi, I think it's the sound Kumar. I will go back and check that. When it's time to proofread this thing, I will make sure I've spelled her name correctly. Okay. So since she helped us understand how to consult them one-on-one and practice mock interviews, right? So now that is a very detailed topic sentence. I know. Whoops. Don't forget to tab. Okay, it's the start of a new paragraph. This is about interviews. But I didn't cite yet because when we talk about specific advice that Ragavi gives us, that's the time to actually cite her and say, this is her idea. It's common knowledge that career services and cooperative education has this service available to you guys. It's free, 100%, whole time you're here. And I heard her say, like, it's good for at least a couple years after you graduate from Centennial. It's like they won't forget about you as long as you don't forget about them. So this is where I've got to go into detail and say it's a two-way street. Actually, that's too casual, isn't it? Was what I was thinking in my head. It was shared with us, more formal, that what we put in is what we get out. And Ragavi assured us that we could raise questions about things like dress code, contacting our contacting HR. Actually, I don't know if she said that because you might not get very far. It's very difficult to contact the company in advance, but you try to get what information you can from anybody you know who might be remotely connected, right, to the business. Researching the company in advance. And even understanding when to keep information private. So what I've done is I've established the major point for interview skills in this case, which is, the do's and don'ts. And if I wanted to follow up with a minor detail, especially with that last point, it was so helpful knowing that I should protect things like my SIN number or provide an email that I use for job search and not my personal email. Now that's interesting. Maybe that email is your Centennial College, my Centennial email. That will be good for at least a year or two. I can't remember, but they will have advice for you. Regavi might just say, create a new Gmail account that looks professional and not funnybuddy67@gmail.com, right? That's going to create an impression with the employer that you might not be that serious. funnybuddy67@gmail.ca. Wait a minute. Alexander says, I'm not an ECE. I'm in the media arts program. I'm in animation. funnybuddy67 might be hip and current with games developers. And so it really depends, doesn't it? Like his email might attract curiosity and interest, that unique, daring, that character, that personality that comes through, even in a simple handle or an email, could make a difference in him getting invited to interview or not. But for the majority of us are dealing with a larger department that filters candidates. You don't get to talk to the manager who eventually wants to hire you. At first, you have to go through an HR department or a hiring committee. And so they want to be taken seriously. They want you to take things seriously. And they don't have a right to your personal email. You give them limited information until there is greater certainty that you are being hired. When HR reaches out with an offer and they're talking about benefits and things, that comes way later. You'll know when it's okay. And if you don't, that's what it's for. You call her. You stay in touch with your Centennial network. These are the people who have really good information, and they've helped so many people do this before. You're not alone, right? So you want to take advantage of that free service. And because you're alumni, they take it seriously. They want you to succeed, even if you don't get hired on the first try, even if you don't get hired in the first year after you graduate. As long as you get hired, you're happy with it, and you can write about it. Centennial's like, tell us more. Tell us more. They're taking notes. They're like, would you like to be the Centennial College Graduate of the Month? It's true. It's true. That's not your mission, though. Your mission is not to be like the poster child of Centennial College. But I'm just saying, this process is not so impersonal and nobody cares, or we're just doing this for grades. This is like, for your own good. You are taking control and action and pride in what you do, and the college honors that. The college really wants the best possible outcome for you, and we feel it's reciprocal. Like if we make our students happy, our students are only too happy to recommend us to others in the future, right? Yeah, that's good business too. Now we need a concluding statement. Oh my gosh, look how far we went. We've got maybe half an essay here. Maybe. There's a lot more work to be done with those 3 body paragraphs, but we're off to a great start, right? And so I've got great news for you here too. The concluding statement should never be a Herculean effort. Why? Because thesis statement, concluding statement, 2 sides of the same coin. So I just highlighted, I'm copying and I'm pasting. Nope, can't leave it. Have to paraphrase, have to change it up, have to say something exactly the same meaning, but differently worded, right? So what will I do? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll flip the order of the plan of development, with strong job research. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about this. And improved market ready resume and cover letter. And many interview practices under my belt. You only get better through practice, okay? I have a stronger sense of my ability to succeed and have a rewarding career in teaching overseas. Now, I kept that thesis statement there the whole time. Why? Because I can recall the order of the information. I can just look back and keep writing. Remember, I first talked about job search, then I went to resume, and I dealt with interview skills. I want to do the same thing in my concluding statement as my thesis. I laid it out my thesis. This was the order in which I would discuss my job readiness. I want to keep that. That's what we call unity. It is predictable and a little boring. Yeah, there for the artistic person, and this is going to grate on your nerves a little bit. That's got to go. The title does not need to be there anymore. For a final copy, you want to take it out because it's everything that's been put in here comes from Marc's mind. I'm uploading it to my Luminate assignment or assessment module, right? Week 8 folder. Of course it's me. There's no need to repeat it, but I used it as a focal point. Because I'm not using the outline simultaneously as some people will, and it's highly recommended you do. I've already done that. Remember, it's posted. It's posted in week 9 or is it week 10? You go look around for it. It's there under preliminary essay lab. Another video in which I do the reverse outline. So this is a step up. This is the writing of a preliminary essay. Incomplete. I'll own that. I just don't think it's valuable use of our time to do the whole paragraphs with you. What I've done is I've started them with critical activation energy to get the ball rolling. And what I have here is a pretty good first go. It's not great yet. And there's a lot more that needs to be added, right? Because all I've done in those body paragraphs, where it matters most, is provide the topic sentence, do a major one, and the minor details to go with it. You still have to do another couple of major points for each paragraph and the minor details that go with them in each of the 3 paragraphs, right? So you could see that this will become longer, and Well, I enlarged the font, so it's probably going to be 2 pages if I complete it properly. If it's double spaced, for sure it's 2 pages for you guys, even with less writing involved and a smaller font. But if you're trying to calculate how many words, I don't know if the instructions accounted for it, but my whiteboard screenshot did. And it said approximately 200 to 250 words. When it's a take-home preliminary essay, it could be as big as 300. In other words, if you recognize a sentence is about 10 words on average, and we said paragraphs are 7 to 10 sentences each. Let's say your paragraphs are meatier, and they do come close to 100, like 10 sentences per paragraph. That's 100, 200, 300. And then a thesis statement and a concluding statement. That's another 20 words each. So we're talking about 350, let's say, at the high end. So we got a sliding scale here. Could be as low as 250 and as high as 350 words. But the sentences matter. Remember, sentence structure will apply. There is a little bit of this in the instructions, and you'll see that there's a rubric there. I'll quickly flip back to it. But what we told you was that 3 columns exist to grade your preliminary essay. And the first column on the right, language control, is watching for things like run-ons, fragments, or well-punctuated signal words with good conjunctions. Remember your articles, prepositions. It's all there. Bullet points cover it. The majority of your score is attributed to your original thinking, your customization, not a chatbot, but how you lay out and make the case for what sounds like sensible, very sensible intentions. I can't tell you if it really works out for you the way you've written it down, but this is how you intend to be job ready. This is how you intend to improve and get yourself in a position to be hired in Canada, right? And so I want to wish you all the best of luck, and that this additional asynchronous video is used to support your success in this course. And may this assignment actually be transferable, transcend, the purposes of like a 5% assignment in this course. And may it be the basis for you to think about how you get ready after you leave Centennial. Like that point in which you graduate and then you're hungry for work. I hope on some level, this exercise where you had to think about, doing things maybe a little differently, but better, result in your happiness in the future for you and your family, the people that you love and that you're intending to support. So let me stop it there and wish you well. We'll see you again in the Zoom in the near future. And we continue to hammer away at the course, because this being week 9, there's a good month left and a fair amount of assessment to go, one assessment at a time. Good luck, people. Let's get this done before